supaya Am I supposed to be hearing something?
Beverly, the meeting will start at 10 o'clock. So if
Beverly,
you'd like,
the meeting will start at 10 o'clock.
so if you'd like to mute
Start
till
at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
I thought my notice said 9:30.
My notice said 9:30. My notice said 9:30. My notice said 9:30. My notice said 9:30. My notice said 9:30.
It's 10 o'clock, and there's a bad echo in here. I gotta figure this out. Right. Why am I in there so many times? Good morning, Gina. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Angela. Yes, I can.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
oh, there's a little delay in my screen today. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Am I echoing?
Sorry. Yes, you are a bit.
Am I echoing?
Yes.
Wonder why. I can't get rid of it. I tried everything. I rebooted the computer a few times and it's echoing. Not sure why.
Well, sometimes you
Deb,
need
can
to
you
use
hear me?
headphones. Yeah, I can hear you. Sometimes if you use headphones, then it will stop the echoes.
It'll take out the background noise.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem. I've never once had that problem. Well, people will have to hear it twice.
It's not terrible. It's not bad. I mean, I think at least on my end, I think we can manage through it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad.
Hey, Gina, just so you know, and I'll announce it, Brian can't make the meeting. He just texted me. He's stuck at the Capitol doing legislative stuff. He just can't get out. It's the last week, so he's really busy.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little delay on my end.
How are you,
too,
Deb?
So.
There's a little delay on my end too, so.
Okay. Good morning, Mary.
How are you?
How are you?
Hanging in there, my dear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's an echo.
I think there's an echo.
Yeah, I
It's
try.
okay.
I can't get rid of it. I can't figure it out.
It's okay.
There's nothing on in the background here. My house is quiet.
Should we hang
I
up
tried
and call?
everything. I tried rebooting.
You want to leave? We should all leave and then dial in?
No, I think
You want to leave? We should all leave and then dial in?
I don't know. It's funny because my screen has different names on it. I can see myself in 3 different screens with 3 different people's names on it.
Did you sign
Strange.
in more than once? Maybe you signed in
Did you
more than
sign
once.
in more than once? Maybe you signed in more than once.
It's possible. You know what? What
Yeah,
time is it? You think I have time to get out and get back
Yeah,
in?
you.
Yeah, I'm going to get out and get back in. Okay, guys. So if I'm late, Mary, if I'm late, I'll text you and you can start the meeting without me.
All right, I'm good. Got it.
But I'm going to try it real
All
quick.
right, I'm good.
Okay.
Got it.
I'm going to try to get out. Okay.
Gina, and you got my last response, right? On the one from yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Was there another one? No, there wasn't another one. Okay, I think that was the last one, right? I'm trying to stay current. They're coming busy.
Yes.
Is this
That
better?
was the last one.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I'm back in. Is it better now?
It is better.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, perfecto.
The old reboot.
You did it.
Did it. Yep.
As a reminder, people, please have your device on mute. Is somebody in a fire station?
Sounds like it. That's better.
Thank you. Gina, how are we looking with commissioners? I know Debbie and Mary, who else?
Let's see. I have Kristen.
Good morning,
Mary.
Kristen.
Rick is here.
Good morning, Rick.
Hey, Angela. Hey, Mary,
Deb is
thanks for
here.
that contact. I haven't reached out to you yet, but I will.
Everyone is here.
Everyone's here?
Yes, except Brian.
Yeah, Brian's an excused absence today.
Yeah.
Now we'll wait one more minute and start the meeting. Good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock and we're going to start our April digital version of the Commission of Pharmacy meeting for the month of April. Some rules and little guidelines while we're online. Please keep your computer on mute until it's your turn on the agenda. Also, for the first-time managers, we'll need to be able to see you on screen and hear you. So no little cute pictures online. We actually have to see you. So with that, I'll start by taking attendance, starting to my left with Commissioner Linder. Kristen.
Here, Commissioner.
Commissioner Nguanti,
Commissioner Angelo DeFazio,
Commissioner Richard Carberry.
Commissioner Debbie Chisholm.
Gina Samples, Board Administrator.
welcome everybody. So let's get started. It's a short agenda, but I got a feeling it's going to be a little longer than we anticipate. So let's get started with request for pharmacy internship. Is Mahar Pathan here? I hope I said it correctly. Gina, do you see her name? Miss
Yes,
Pathan?
she is here. I did
Okay.
give her permission to speak.
Okay. Mahar, are you here?
Mahar, you need to unmute.
Hey, Deb, what's the trick? Star something?
I was trying to remember. I don't see her. Can you unmute her?
Hi,
She
Gina,
did,
I-
she did unmute it.
Okay.
Hi,
Mahar-
guys.
There we
Hi,
go.
Mahar, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see
Oh,
me?
okay, very good. Okay, I need to swear you in, okay? Can I see you? I don't see a video.
My camera is on.
Okay, I can't see you. Anybody else? Commissioners, can you see her?
Can't see her.
All right, we'll try this without a video then, but
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'm gonna imagine it digitally. Could you please raise your right hand? You
Yes,
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, I'll say all the truth, nothing but the truth.
That's,
I'm sorry.
for the record, could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
My name is Meher Pathan, MAHER PATHAN.
Very good. So for pharmacy internships, we like to call you before the board and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you did your education, what part of pharmacy you're interested in, and tell us about your preceptor and where you're going to practice. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Meher Pathan. Originally, I'm from India. I did my bachelor's in pharmacy from India, and I also did my master's from England, the Greenwich University. I came to United States in 2009 as I got married, so I came here. 2009 to 2014, I worked as a pharmacy technician at CVS. And then I had to take off from work because I have the 2 kids and they were really needed the mother care. So I stayed home. Then I took my exams. I passed my FPGEC exam and I become an intern. So I would like to start my internship in Connecticut. So I started working in this privately owned pharmacy in Stamford. His pharmacist name is Solomon Pratt, and right now he's going slowly. So I'm trying to get into CVS pharmacy to get more hours because I know I need to do like more hours per week. So I also have the pharmacist David Mulaski. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name wrong. At CVS in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Any
That's it.
questions? Any questions for Ms. Patan, commissioners? My only question is, I think this is the first one that's had 2 preceptors. I guess that's okay, right, Gina? As
Yeah.
long as the hours are allocated to each one and they can back it up. Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
So
great.
I have one
Um,
question though.
Sure.
So I do have like different preceptor forms with me. So should I just mail it out or should I like send it digitally? What do I do?
Gina, how do you prefer?
You could send that via email to me, or you can send it to the pharmacy license box, which is online.
Okay.
And a
I
little
would
word
prefer-
of it, a little advisement, make a copy of it and keep it for your own records, just in case it finds its way into the black hole of government.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I will prefer to email directly to Miss Simple, Gina, and then I will keep a copy for me too. Thank you so much.
Sounds
Thank you.
great. We wish you a lot of luck. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, great. Moving on, pharmacy relocations. Is Christopher Olender here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Christopher. Commissioner Carberry, Commissioner Chisholm, I don't have to swear him in since it's a relocation.
Good morning.
Morning, Christopher.
Morning. Good morning.
Can you walk us through the relocation of this pharmacy?
Yep. The space is a previously owned FTD Flowers. It was like the online flower delivery place. So it's a fairly large space we're going into, about 5,000 square feet. I think both of so we're not taking the full space. That second tab, I think, that is brought up shows the outline. I'm not sure if people have had a chance to see that or know that already, but that's on the second one if we need to reference it. So on the bottom right there, in the pharmacy retail space will be the main entrance to the pharmacy. And that, the retail space is just going to be your usual cards, cough and cold sections, the standard. I'm actually curious if you guys have any input from what you've seen, and you can talk about this at the end really briefly, with the changing kind of dynamic of society and a lot of things being more digital. What are you guys seeing in terms of like the retail space, new offerings? Is there anything in particular that people are leaning towards? A lot of the things you would buy at a store, you can just get off Amazon now, unfortunately. I do it myself too, so it's I understand the grips of that. But anyway, we walk into the pharmacy in the bottom right. It's going to be a push button automatic handicap opening, double door there. And then we'll have the regular space, the pharmacy counter there, on the little bit, if you're walking in, the sales counter there labeled. Behind that, we'll have 2 or possibly 3. I need to see how much room, or if we need the third bay there so we're mixed retail and long-term care. So we kind of have the 2 bays in the front there for the front retail space, where it looks like there's computers in the middle there. Those computers should actually just be on the bottom 2 columns there. The middle is supposed to be the drug bays. I thought that would be a nice little in between, because right above that is going to be our long-term care corner. We don't have a robot right now, but the space will allow for it eventually. So I'm kind of excited for that. The 3 rooms to the right listed as existing offices will just remain at offices, or, you know, I can create little cubicle sections for my girls in the back, you know, kind of create their own little corner spaces and whatever they need. And then besides that, I mean, that's the whole space. The 2 safes there are to the left of the retail space. There is a handicap bathroom accessible from the front store retail space. It's to the left of the sales counter. That little door, I think it says new HC room. Above that room will be just our electrical closet, the, you know, electrical stuff. And then the 2 rooms above that are just public for the building, not rather public, but for the tenants of the building, just bathrooms. And then the storage / break room area above that will also be ours. So that little middle section with the 2 bathrooms won't be ours. And then the room above is just a break room. All the doors are going to remain locked at all times. That top right one near the existing office is going to be, I think, just an emergency exit. It's going to be locked at all times. I don't think I'm going to have that be any kind of entrance unless I need it to be, which I don't think. I think it just has to be an emergency exit. And then the room, or the door before, the door to the right before you get into the storage / break room to the left there, that one will remain locked at all times. And actually, no, I think we're gonna do away with the right door. The left door we were gonna make locked at all times, because that's the one that is accessible to that main corridor. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm happy to answer any questions I may be missed.
Commissioners, before you begin, Commissioner Carver, Commissioner Chisholm, I am to swear in Christopher. So Christopher, I apologize. I was supposed to swear you
That's
in.
okay.
And the camera. And Christopher, if you could
Yep.
turn your camera
Yeah,
on.
Yep.
turn your
Hold on.
camera on, please.
Perfect.
There you go. Chris, could you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. And for the record, could you state your name and spell your last name?
Christopher Olender, CHRISTOPHER, Olender, OLENDER.
And is there going to be any computer or point of sale system that's going to have HIPAA information that's going to sit outside of the pharmacy department? For example, computer in the middle of the store that's not part of the prescription department.
Oh, no.
Okay. Very good. Sorry, commissioners. Continue.
Gina, can you expand that drawing? I apologize. I
Yeah.
couldn't download this drawing yesterday at all. So just want to get a little more clarification on what's going on the other part
How's
of the
that?
building. That's better.
Okay.
And just for reference point, the way we're looking at it right now, the very top of it is the main road. So we would be entering in from the top if you were like walking into the building.
Chris, I had a quick question for you,
Mhm.
just to clarify. Can you just let me know what exactly are you trying to license as the pharmacy? So I see that storage break room area, and you said that left door that I guess leads to the corridor, that will be
Fully
locked.
locked. Yeah.
You're
So
gonna
if,
do away with the other one. So
Yep.
just outline for me what you're gonna try to license as a pharmacy.
yeah, if we can click over to that next tab, that was what I tried mentioning in the, that I think will show what you're asking. That highlighted area one. Yep, you just had
Got
it. If you just click.
Perfect. Yep. Okay. All right. So those two, I think it says existing TLT room. Those
Toilet. I think
two-
those are just 2 bathrooms.
Got it. So that's not going to be considered part of the pharmacy.
Correct.
Existing electrical, new HC room and storage area will.
Correct. So the handicap bathroom there is to the right will be the bathroom we share. And then the room to the left is just gonna be like an electrical.
Okay, perfect.
stuff.
Okay, great.
Now the drawing's flipped around. We gotta try to,
There you go.
I just did the highlighted version. He had two versions.
Yeah, that's good. If you
That's
can
better.
expand it just a little bit more, Gina. Yeah,
Okay.
there-
Good job, Gina.
and may- and
Thank
maybe
you.
walk us through. I can't see refrigerators, safes, sinks. I can't see anything on this drawing. I mean, they're probably there, but
yeah,
it's very
they're,
small.
The
I see the
refrigerators will probably be right next to the safe there along that wall, on the other side of those bathrooms that aren't part of our thing.
That'll have to get drawn in, Chris.
Okay,
So what's there now? Just a safe and a sink? Still can't read them.
this
sorry.
is
I
two
think I
safes.
think it's
they
Yeah.
two
both say
sinks,
safe.
right?
Yeah.
They both say safe.
Okay,
So
So where's
just
this-
so I can write this down, just labeling the fridges.
And a sink.
yeah, where's your sink?
I believe we were gonna include it in the storage break room. I mean, that was going to be a, it's gonna have a little kitchenette type of, with a drain and everything for a sink.
We kind of need to know where it is, and
So you're gonna go in there to make suspensions?
Yeah, I think you need one. I mean, technically it's
pharmacy.
in the pharmacy, but I think you need another one.
Okay, just a separate sink.
Yeah,
Okay,
And your refrigerators, you should have one for food and
Yep.
one for, so because you do have such a nice break room, maybe put one in a break room and then the prescription refrigerator in the prescription department.
Yep. Mhm.
You'll need to draw those in and then.
Yep.
Okay,
so Chris, I'm not sure what kind of safe you're gonna use, but just looking at the sale counter and where the safe is, just thinking through the safe that you are probably gonna use, if you open that safe door, if I am standing at that sale counter, can I look into the safe?
you shouldn't be able to, no.
You just wanna make sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll obviously test it. Yeah, if it for whatever reason wouldn't work there, then yeah, we'll put it in a.
Yeah, and
different
that can
spot.
just be as simple as a door that swings open left or a door that swings open right.
Correct.
oh, yeah,
We only have one safe at the moment. The reason I drew two in is it's starting to get a little packed, so we might have two saves and they would obviously be next to each other. I think the safe we have now swings to the right. So if we were to get, if that was in view, we would get the second safe to open the other way and make sure it's put on the left side of the both saves so that if that's ever open, you can't see it.
So Gina, can you go back to the other drawing? I just have a question. So right where it says vacant, right, opposite of where the pharmacy, where it says pharmacy retail, there's kind of at least on my drawing, it's kind of carved out black. If you zoom it in a little bit more, yeah, you see there, it's
That
black too.
is if you're picturing a flat wall, that's just like a window cutout in that wall. That's essentially just empty floor space for the front retail.
So does that give access from that vacant room
No.
into the pharmacy?
No, you can walk into the vacant area, but there's a door on the bottom that remains locked at all times.
again, that's
Trying
part
to
of the
think.
pharmacy though.
is that part of the pharmacy? Yeah,
Not the vacant area is not a part of the pharmacy. I'm trying to visualize what that would look like.
It's almost like just an extension of the room. I mean, we're not paying for the space. We're not going to be using it. I mean, there's no access to get into that room. It's locked from any other way other than like the front, the main street entrance.
So
But
when you
I don't
say
know.
it's,
I'm kind of asking I don't know if that needs to be blocked off or not. It won't be utilized by us because we're not paying rent on it. But it doesn't, like, it's locked at all times, so no one would be able to come in through that way as a second way of getting in.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would be my concern, just the access. So when you say it's locked, is it locked and accessible? So if I happen to have the key and I go to that vacant section, can
think
I
it's one of
now,
those like 1 through 5 like push button
the
door.
trilogy, right?
Yeah.
So
one
if
of those.
I have that code and I happen to come in on the vacant side, can I get in to the pharmacy?
So the code you'd be entering in from which side? From within the retail space or from the other side?
So I happen to go through the corridor. I'm not in the
Mhm.
pharmacy at all. I'm going into that vacant space. And there's a,
You wouldn't
it
be able to
sounds
get
like,
into the pharmacy.
right, so is that so if I had the code, the lock, the key, whatever, could I get in any way? Is it in any way accessible is what I'm trying to find out. I'm not really
No,
visual.
because there's one of those, I guess it's called the trilogy lock. So there's one there, and then right underneath the new HC room there, so where it says corridor, that door that goes into that next corridor where you would walk into the bathroom, that is also on a trilogy lock. So you couldn't even get into the vacant area to get into the retail space separately if you wanted to. Like, that also remains locked. The end
Okay,
of that
so
corridor.
let's say that vacant area is no longer vacant. I lease it because it
Yep.
sounds like it could be leased. So I lease it now. I have my little company there. Can I now get into the pharmacy if for some reason I have the code to the door?
Into the pharmacy, no, because the only entrance from that corridor is through that storage break room, which is when I talked about in this
Okay.
case, the bottomest most door would be remain locked at all times.
Okay,
That's the
just
only
wanna-
entrance into the pharmacy.
Rick, does that make sense to you? I'm just trying to make sure that we don't have any.
I'm still looking at these doors now. Why is there a long gray line and a dark black line? Are those walls, windows? What are they?
So the thick black line in the vacant is the cutout. That's just like a square in the middle of a square window type section. The thinner line is like you can walk into the vacant room. That's like a entryway.
So there's access into that vacant room through that gray bar.
From the retail space, yes. I mean, it will just remain empty. I mean, you could walk into that room and no further. You couldn't get into that bottom vacant room from the top vacant room because there's
a door there that it's going to be that allows you to get into the vacant rooms.
That
So
one's
I guess
locked.
my point is why it's not being
Yeah,
part of the pharmacy. If you don't need it, then wall it off and you're done.
Yeah, exactly. I think.
Yeah.
I
where
mean, yeah, I mean, you can
Chisholm
have
and
it walled
Commissioner
off
Carberry,
if it needs
I
to
think
be
where
that way.
Commissioner Chisholm and Commissioner Carberry are going is that whatever your outline of your pharmacy is, that should be the outline of the pharmacy. So
Okay.
you should wall that off
Got it.
separate. You're not paying rent. If you were paying rent for it, then sure, include it into the pharmacy. Whether or not you put anything in there doesn't
Got it.
matter.
All
It's
right, I'll
still
just have them wall it
pharmacy
off then.
license. Right, so in
Okay.
this case, just wall it off.
Got it. All right, we'll do.
but then now that needs to be a demising wall, right? Because we potentially can have someone else leasing that other space.
Right.
Absolutely.
What was that? I'm not familiar.
A demising wall, so it goes all the way up. So if I happen to lease
Yes.
that next area,
Yeah.
after hours, I can't crawl up. Oh, you'd be surprised.
Correct. Yeah,
It does happen.
It is a yeah, it can be. It's set up to be done that way. Yeah, when you wall it off.
No doors, no windows, just a wall all the way to
Yep.
the.
Yep.
So I probably, did you put a notation on that, Rick? Just so that the inspector is aware that we kind of talked through it thoroughly and what we expect to be there.
Yeah, I think Chris is going to mark it up, right? Chris, you're gonna mark it up and.
Yeah,
send it
I
back
could
in.
send a revised version that
Yeah.
walls
Yeah,
it
we need
off,
that.
shows the 2 fridges and then the sinks. I think that's what I've written down so far.
Yeah,
if I
sink,
missed anything.
refrigerators, right? Walled off, yeah. Any other questions for Chris?
Just the logistics of the move. So
Oh,
when are
yes.
you gonna, when are you gonna move this? How are you
So
gonna
our
move
lease
this?
ends here in September, so, you know, ideally October 1st, our lease here starts, so. I mean, it's literally across the street, so logistically, I mean, as many things as we can, we'll be getting, you know, carried over. Any bigger items, I'll have to figure out, you know, a trailer or a truck issue, but should be fairly straightforward from how I see it. We don't have too much in here other than some larger counters for big things and a few of the front store shelving units. Besides that, I mean, the heaviest thing will be the safe, and that will really only be the only heavy thing, I think.
Well, that's the important part. So as you know, when you move these controlled substances,
Mhm.
you've got to inventory that on the way out.
Yep.
You got to inventory it on the way in. It's got to be verified and signed off by the pharmacist.
Yep.
So we're not as concerned about you moving furniture and fixtures. It's the drugs that are being transported across the street.
Okay.
So that's very important, that whether you're going to close on a Saturday, shut down, move everything on a Sunday and reopen on a Monday,
Mhm.
you just got to make sure that you've got the security all secured and that those controlled substances are counted in and out and verified.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna time, I don't know if it's possible. I guess this is a good question to ask now. One of my pharmacists, I'm going to be promoting him to a manager. Is there a way to time that move for the purposes of counting all the controls and narcotics? Can you kind of double dip there for the
As long as
purposes?
he's the
Since,
manager of record before the move, right?
no, so then I guess you can't double dip, right? Because he'd have to be manager first, which would require that inventory count. And then he'd have to be the manager already to do the move. Yeah, I guess we'll just do it twice.
And would it be a first-time manager coming on board?
I don't think so. He came from CVS. I believe he was manager there.
Yeah, just kind of check into that because you have to go through that process if not too.
Right.
But yeah, it's probably much more cleaner if you do the transfer, if you're not going to have that manager in place before you move from the other location.
Yeah, I'm gonna think through. I mean, that was just sort of like trying to be efficient. If it has to be done twice, we'll do it twice, but. Now and even if he was a previous manager, he has to get sworn in again anyway, though, doesn't he?
No.
No? Oh,
Yeah.
it would just be a classification change, like a form.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Any
so
other
other than those revisions, I mean, I think if you got those all down,
Yep.
I think we can proceed.
Okay, I'll make that change. In terms of exit doors, is there any style of door that's typically recommended?
Solid. Solid and locked.
Not paper mache, got it, okay.
Yeah. Nice solid steel doors.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions for Chris?
No, I'm good.
Okay, hearing none, I'll accept the motion to pass the pharmacy relocation.
So motion to approve, provided the revisions discussed, including safe, sink, refrigerators,
Mhm.
and a walling off, demising wall in the area below the retail or next to the retail space are included in the revised drawing to the department.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? Recusals? Motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Good luck in
Thank
your
you so
move.
much. Thank you.
We have no legal today. Either everyone's been really, really good, or there's going to be a whole bunch of them later. So having no legal, let's go right to first-time managers. where I get to show off how poorly my pronunciation is. Okay, first-time managers, you can now unmute and put yourself on screen. Okay, and I'm going to say your name and please let us know that you're here. Aaron Bisnath, CVS Pharmacy, Stanford. Aaron,
He's here. I
okay.
just asked him to unmute.
Can you see him too, Gina?
I don't see him.
Okay,
He's
we'll
showing
let
up.
Aaron. Okay, we'll go back to Aaron while he gets his computer going. Brian Knight.
I'm here, Commissioner.
Hi, Brian. Good morning.
Morning.
Justina Navalil.
Morning.
Good morning, Justina. Constantina. Oh boy. Papiano.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Sandra Pica, or is it Pica?
Hi, good morning.
Is it Pica or Pica?
It's Pika.
Pica. Thank you, Sandra. Fauziat Ramoni.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
And let's go back to Aaron now. Aaron?
Hi, hi,
Oh, yes, very good. Good morning, Aaron. How are
morning.
you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, good. So you probably wonder why we have you appear. But first of all of you have been practicing pharmacy in Connecticut for 6 months. Nod your heads. Yes. A lot of
Yeah.
nodding. Good, good, very good. So, you probably wonder why we call you before the board. We're still one of the few states that actually do this for first-time managers. Because, being a pharmacist manager, it's an important position of responsibility. And we find that in today's incredibly high-paced work environment, a real good leader, a good pharmacy manager has tremendous outcomes. And where there's a poor pharmacy manager that doesn't have high culture and high professionalism, there's bad outcomes. So we'd like to have you before us and go over a few things. Typically, we have law before this, and we like to do that so that some of the new pharmacist managers can see some of the pitfalls that may exist out there in certain environments and where certain things go wrong. Now, I can't possibly go over all the pharmacy manager responsibilities. So there is a phenomenal CE that was put together by UConn. You can find it at pharmacy.uconn.edu. And I really suggest you go through that presentation. And the name of the presentation is Constant State of Readiness. And it's a wonderful title, especially if you look back the last couple of years, what pharmacists have gone through with COVID. We're always in a constant state of readiness. But I like to go over just some of the things that we see and that's going on in the pharmacies and what I think that a pharmacist manager has to be very vigilant at. Number one, you know that the minimum number of hours a pharmacy manager has to work is 35 hours. So you have to be at least 35 hours a week. The other thing is one of the things that we've noticed is sometimes expiration date on licenses aren't being watched, not only for pharmacists, but also more importantly for pharmacy technicians. So make sure you have those licenses, you know when they're going to expire, and you remind staff pharmacists as well as technicians, hey, did you get your renewal? Did you get your pharmacy renewal? The other thing that we're starting to see a lot of now is CE requirements. As the pharmacist manager, obviously keep your CE alive and well, but also make sure all your staff pharmacists have their CEs. And if you have any accredited technicians with any special certificate, make sure that their CEs are also current. And remember, we have a 2-year license, but it means still 15 hours in each separate calendar year, 5 hours live for each separate calendar year, and 1 hour each year of the 15 must be a law CE. So just keep that in mind. We've had more than our share of non-compliant CE requirements lately. Tech ratios, one of the things that the agents see a lot of is cheating on the tech ratio. As we know, it's 2-to-1, 3-to-1 with a nationally certified, and we've expanded to 4-to-1 during the COVID crisis. And that's still going to continue until June. And there are some bills out there where legislation may get passed where 4-to-1 remains going forward in law. But as of right now, it's 3-to-1, but under the governor's emergency orders, 4-to-1 is allowed. One of the things we really don't like to talk about, but it's important to share, is diversion. You always have to be vigilant about diversion. If there's any scheduled drug missing, remember, it needs to be reported within 72 hours. We're finding that certain pharmacies find a mistake or find that there's medication missing, and they do their own internal audits and try to figure it out. And next thing you know, 4 or 5 months have gone by, and then it's reported, and then it's too late. So remember, if there is anything missing in your pharmacy, do your due diligence, and it needs to be reported within 72 hours. And just use, be aware of what the street drugs are. Be aware of what's being diverted. We all know that the opioids are being diverted. We know that, but be aware of things like Phenergan with codeine that are being diverted. The tramadols are being diverted. There's Soma is being diverted. There's all kinds of drugs that are being diverted out there, and some of them aren't even scheduled drugs. So be aware of what's out there, keep a good vigilance, and just use little tricks of the trade. Like the same person that orders the scheduled drugs isn't the same person that checks it in, just little things like that can really help over the years. Let's see, what else? Misfills.
May I interrupt for just a moment, please?
Sure.
I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here.
Okay, Bev, you're here for the CE portion. So that's on the agenda. That comes right after this. So if you'd like to mute your camera until then, and we'll call your name when you're on the agenda. Okay, thank you. All right, where was I? Misfills. It's a dirty word. We don't like it, but it happens. The key thing that we found with misfills is to make sure that you have quality assurance, and your pharmacy's policies and quality insurance is such that you document everything, because you may not know 3, 4, 5 weeks, 2 months, 6 months down the road, they may come back and all of a sudden this misfill is in question. Well, if you didn't document it correctly, you're not going to remember what actually took place. So make sure you fill the quality assurance paper out. Don't sweep it under the rug. The ones that we have had issues with are the ones that have been swept under the rug. So please document it correctly. I'm now going to turn it over to Commissioner Inguante, who will speak to you a little bit about the MedWatch program. Commissioner Inguante.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, congratulations on all of your leadership roles. That's a great step in your career. I do want to just share with you a little bit on the FDA MedWatch program. And again, this is a great source of information for you that will keep you as that source for your patients that you serve. You just sign up for it and they will push the emails to you. You don't have to go out on the website searching for the information. And as things are reported through the field, different types of adverse reactions, recalls, lot concerns. It looks like most of you are working for a larger organization. I'm sure you have your methods for getting that information, but at the end of the day, you're responsible because you're the one with the pharmacist license and you're responsible for that pharmacy operation. So again, it's just an easy tool. We recommend that you sign up for this and you keep it as one of your tools in your toolbox to make you a better practitioner. And that's pretty much all I have. I don't know if you have any questions.
A couple more things. Try to use good judgment. We find that when a pharmacy manager or a pharmacy has issues, it's really poor judgment. Try to use good judgment. As I told all my pharmacists over the years, use good judgment and always say to yourself, am I harming public safety? And always use the moniker do no harm. And the other thing I'd like to leave you with that's really important, especially with the workplace environment that we have today. Remember that company policy is not state policy. If your company says they wanted you to do something and it contradicts state policy, I can assure you the state one will win out. So use good judgment. If there's something that arises in your workplace that you think needs attention, don't be quiet about it. Talk to your immediate supervisor, the owner of the pharmacy, regional manager, whoever's in charge above you. Let them know what the situation is and use good judgment and be a professional at all times. With that, if any other commissioners have any questions for these young, eager beavers, or if there's any questions from these professionals on screen for us, please ask away. Hearing none, I'll let you all go back to work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, let's see here. Moving on. Gina, I'm gonna depend on you on some of this. So I don't know if you'll recall, but in the last meeting we had, or a couple meetings ago, no, I think it was the last one. In the licensure procedure, there's a checkbox or a question that's asked for continuing education. Have you completed and fulfilled your CE requirement for licensure? And it seems as though there's been a few pharmacists who answered no, but were still able to receive their license. So Gina, with her forensic file expertise, went in and ran a report, correct, Gina?
That's correct.
And now Gina will let us know what this report showed. Gina?
Okay, thank you all, Chair and Commissioners. So we did an audit in lieu of what happened and with the pharmacists answering that. We wanted to see how many pharmacists that answered no still received their license. So the 4 pharmacists appearing today did answer no, and they did still receive their license. So they did not appear, they did not contact us to appear. We generated an email and we sent it out to them, letting them know, okay, you answered no to this question for continuing education, and this is your requirements that you need to meet for your calendar year. And that is the 4 that are appearing. We had 21 in all, and some of the pharmacists were first years. And then there were 4 pharmacists that were not practicing, so they did give up their license. And that's kind of that's the history of, how this has started. And we are looking on renewal that when that question is answered, there will be a change in that.
Yeah, there'll be a hard stop now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, I guess and Gina, thank you. You did an incredible job of filtering and letting us know the totals, the years, just a tremendous job with this. So I had asked Gina also to look at, because this was the year 20 and 21, that 2-year period for licensure, and they answered no to that. I thought it would be very important to know what 18 and 19 also look like, because if 18 and 19 didn't have fulfillment of CE, and then 20 and 21 didn't have fulfillment of CE, then that's obviously a bad pattern. So I asked also for 2018 and 2019, because I thought that would allow us to make a better judgment call on extension of CEs and how to do that. So Gina did ask the 4 people that are on our agenda today for that. And we're going to go one by one as they appear on the agenda. So if you guys want to pull out Aisha Mansour. Aisha, are you here?
Hi, Commissioner. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Aisha. How are you? Could you turn on your camera, sweetheart, please?
Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Can you guys see me?
No.
No,
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Can you guys see me now?
I can't. Anybody else?
Um,
no,
Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. Could you please raise your right hand? I need to swear you in, honey. Could you please
Sure.
raise your right hand?
Sure.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
And for the record, could you state your name and spell your last name?
Sure. Aisha Mansour. Last name is Mansour.
Okay. All right, I guess my first question is, when was your first year of licensure? When were you licensed first?
I graduated pharmacy school in 2016. That's when I got my license in 2016.
Okay, I see here, Aisha, that Gina, our board administrator, did ask you for 2018 and 2019 CEs, but we haven't received those yet.
You said they haven't been received?
Correct. Gina, is that correct?
they have not. No, I did not receive them.
Oh, I did receive your email, so I'm surprised I didn't get through. I can provide those to you guys. Is that okay if I send it at the end of the meeting, or
Yeah, because what we decide is probably gonna
be based off that?
hinged on how the fulfillment of 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
So
I do recall in 2018 and 2019, I did request an extension. I think I was off for 2 live CEs at the time. And I was in the process of moving from Connecticut to Illinois. So I actually don't live in Connecticut at this time anymore. But I did want to keep my license active. But I do recall that I did request an extension and it was granted, and I fulfilled those, but I'll get
Okay.
those to you guys.
all right, just make sure you get those to Gina.
Sure.
So why don't you go over exactly what 2020, 2021, and 2022 are here? Let's see here. So you completed 1.5 CEs in 2020. That's it?
Yeah, in 2020, it was a little, I mean, I know that it's not the greatest excuse, but I did work a lot of overtime with Walgreens. Every week was overtime. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. So, I mean, when it wasn't the greatest judgment putting them off to that extent, but that was, the situation of 2020 for me. And then 2021, I, of course, frantically tried to get my CEs up to date. So that's when I completed the majority of them. And then, I tried 2022 to complete whatever I was missing, but of course I didn't make it for the live ones, which is usually the hardest for me to complete. And I believe I did miss the live one as well. And Gina did point that out to me via email, that I did not complete the lot portion of the requirement as well. And then I did get pregnant again with our third child. So I did just deliver a week ago with our third baby. So it was a crazy 2 years back to back with kids and COVID, and getting sick with COVID with myself. And I was out of work for 2 months with COVID. So it was a really hard couple years with, COVID, overtime, being pregnant, giving birth. But that was, my 2 years summary of what was going on.
Commissioners, any questions for Aisha?
Yeah, I just had a quick question, Aisha.
Sure.
And congratulations on the new baby, by the way.
Thank you.
My question is, I think you said you requested a waiver for 18 and 19. Is that correct?
Not a waiver. I did still have my license active. I'm not sure if this is what you mean, but I did request an extension to complete those
Yeah.
CE.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay, exactly. Yes, I did.
Okay, and so for 2020 and 21, did you also request a waiver or an extension?
Not via email. I think Gina, she reached out to me, but I did when I did renew my license, I did say that I did not complete my CE requirements. So that's how I ended up going about it. She reached out to me directly about those CEs.
Thank you.
Mama, take one.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners?
Yeah.
Any suggestions from the other commissioners?
I think, Chairman, I think after we hear from the other three folks, I think maybe this is something we should discuss among ourselves. And then, work with Gina to get back to them on next steps.
Yeah, we on Ayesha's, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I really
That's okay,
apologize.
Aisha. That's okay.
Aisha, without 18 and 19 before us, and because there was a request for extension back then, and now there's another request for extension. So basically the last 4 years weren't fulfilled in a timely fashion as required by, as required for your pharmacy state license here in Connecticut. I understand you're in another state, and sometimes when you're in a different state, you don't think of CE and the other states you want to be licensed in. I understand that, but it's still a requirement. We're not gonna, I'm certainly not gonna waive any of it. It's a matter of how long to make up what you need to make up. Is it gonna be through the end of the year? Is it gonna be through June? What's reasonable? So that's some of the things we have to talk about, but I don't even want to talk about that until we verify that 2018 and 2019 were fulfilled with the extension that the commission granted you back then. So
Okay.
in that case, I think right away on this one, and commissioners, I'll take any suggestions you may have, is I like to table this for next month with the 18-19 verification, and it'll give us some time to digest and hear the other CE issues on the agenda today, so that we can make a decision that's universal and fair to everyone on the agenda. Okay. So actually, why don't I make a motion to table this to next month's meeting? I hear
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all of it. Is
I'll
your motion
make a
to table
motion to
just
table
Aisha?
Aisha Mansour's CE extension to next month, to give her time to get us 2018 and 2019 to Gina. So I'll make a motion to table this for till next month. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Okay, you should get that information to Gina as soon as you can.
Yep, I'll send it now.
And we'll see you next month, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you. Is Sandy Teng, T-E-N-G here?
Yeah, right here.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning.
Can we see her? I don't have her up on my,
She's on the screen, yeah.
oh, is she? Great. Okay, Sandy, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Right hand, now left hand.
All the hands.
Sandy, I can't see her. She gone? Oh, there
It's
you
on
go.
the screen, but I can't
Hi,
hear it.
Sandy. Could you please raise your right hand? Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? No, sweetheart, the other hand.
This is my right hand.
That's correct. Good, thank you. Do you
Oh,
swear to,
okay.
do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
For the record, please state your name and spell your last name.
Sandy Teng, S-A-N-D-Y-T-E-N-G.
Thank you very much. All right, Sandy, so let's see, what do we have here for Sandy, Gina?
Okay, so Sandy is on most of her CEs. She was in 2020 completed 9.75 live, so she needed 0.25 live for the 2020 and 2021 to be compliant. and she needed a law. So she did do an update this morning. And she still, to be compliant for 2020 and 2021, she still does need another law. She did complete 4.25 live with her.
So as of right now, for her 2-year requirement, she only needs one law for 2021.
Correct.
And for 2022,
so for 2022, she has,
actually that hasn't.
Yeah, it
happened
hasn't.
yet, so it really doesn't matter, right?
no, it'll go
Yeah, we
forward.
haven't gotten to December yet. Very good. Commissioners? And we did receive Sandy's 2018 and 19, and she fulfilled her CE on a timely fashion in those 2 years, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent. Good. Any questions, commissioners?
I guess my question would be the same that I posed to Aisha about notifying the board to request either an extension or a waiver. I just want to know, was it done? And if not, the reason for that.
Was not done. I think it was something I realized I didn't need to fulfill, or what the best way to go about that was, and something I didn't realize that that I didn't complete my CEs last year. And usually I do above and beyond the amount of CEs I do need to do.
So you didn't realize it, you didn't know how to communicate with the board, or that you didn't get the Cs? I don't know, the volume is a little low, so I couldn't hear everything that you said.
Yes, I failed to communicate with the board on what the proper next steps were on the CE credits. And that
Okay.
was my failure to plan.
Okay, thank you.
I want to reiterate, though, that everyone on this list was honest in answering no. Correct, Gina?
Yes, this is, as I said, this was an audit for the 2022 renewal.
Right.
And we just did that specific to if they answered the continuing education, yes or no.
Right. So it's really only one law CE that's in question here?
Yeah.
Is that correct, Gina?
That's correct.
So, rather than tabling this one, because it is only one, and 2018 and 2019, she was compliant, I'd like to make a motion to grant an extension to the end of the year where to make up the one law CE. So this year, Sandra, you need to do 16 credits, of which 2 would have to be law, 5 would have to be live, and a total of 16, making sure that 2 are law to suffice the 2021 law that you missed. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to allow Sandy an extension to the end of the year to make up that one law. And do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Abstentions? Okay, so moved. Okay, Sandy. Thank you. You have until the end of the year. Make sure you stay on top of it. Okay, thanks. All right, moving on. Let's go to Chandra Yelinetti.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, Chandra. How are you?
Good, and how are you?
Good. Could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear the truth, but nothing but the truth.
And could you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
Chandra Yelinetti, last name spelled as Yellinedi.
Okay. Gina, you want to update us a little on his situation?
Okay, so this is the same case scenario. on the renewal, he answered no, that he did not complete them. He did say when the response email to me was that he did ask for an extension, but with me taking over, I did not see that. So I did speak with him on the phone a few times, probably 2 times I spoke with him and went over what he needed. So in 2020, he had no CEs. He needed the total of 15 for the calendar year, 5 live and 1 in law. And in 2021, he did 22 CEs. He completed 3 in law and 5 live. So he was in compliance there. He needs the 5, what did I put? He needs 10 CEs to be in live, completed, to be compliant in 2020 and 2021. And that is.
And 2018 and 2019, he was compliant and on time?
Yes, he did submit those.
I guess the question is, what happened in 2020? Chandra, is that your, do you have a lot of people in the room?
No.
Please mute your screens if you're not being. Please mute your screen. Thank you. I think. Go ahead, Chandra. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, as Gina mentioned, like I did request in the month of late December last year. I sent an email to Heather, and also I tried to call her a few times and left a message. I completely moved to India because my mother passed away and I'm taking care of my dad. So part of this, like at the time of renewal, I honestly answered I did not complete the CEs. And fortunately, I got an email from Gina saying that these are the things. And as she mentioned, like I have discussions with her, and I promised that I will complete these CEs as required. And so far, I have completed 5 live CEs, and I have 4 more live CEs to be completed tomorrow, and 1 more on May 4th. So I should be able to complete 10 CEs in 2 weeks. And I just forwarded that transcript to Gina like a few minutes back.
Well, that's very forthcoming. Thank you, Chandra. Any questions for Chandra? I guess my question is, are you back in the States now, Chandra?
Yeah, I'm back in the States. And again, I'll be leaving in the first week of June. And I want to finish everything.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question for Chandra, but my condolences on the passing of your mom. I thank you for, and I think every one of the pharmacists for their honesty in selecting no, that they did not complete it. But as well, communicating in that crazy time of your life, but also reaching out and communicating to the board to let us know that you did not complete it and you needed an extension.
Yeah, Chandra, you did everything right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think I think life happens. We all know it. The last couple of years have been, I think unprecedented is probably overused, but I think that's probably the best way to describe it. However, I do think we have to, if you're not going to meet your requirement, you have to notify the board. I think for me, that's the sticking point. Things happen, a quick email, to ask a question, what do I do? I'm not going to meet the requirement. I think everyone, at least by, December 31st, you kind of look to see where do you stand and you figure out, hey, I'm not going to meet the requirement. Yes, I'm going to meet it. So if we don't meet it, just a quick notification to the board. I mean, it's what's required, and it allows us to provide next steps on what we can do to help you get an extension or waiver, whatever the board decides to do. So I want to thank you for doing that.
It's my pleasure. Yeah. Thank you.
And with that, I'll accept the motion for an extension to the end of the year for Chandra, though I do believe you'll have it done by June, but a motion to extend it to the end of the year to catch up, to fulfill your 2021 and your 2022 also. So I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chandra. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now, last but not least, Beverly Dillon. DeLeon, I'm sorry, did I say that correctly? DeLeon. Good morning, Beverly.
It is Dylan, D is in Delta, ILLON.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's spelled differently on the thing. Could you please?
Apologize, that's my mistake.
Yeah, could you please raise your right hand, Beverly? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, for the record, say your name, and you already spelled it, so just state your name, please.
Beverly Dillon.
Very good. And Gina, could you bring us up to date on Beverly's?
Okay, and as I said, the original email went out regarding the renewal, and Ms. Dillon did state that she did not complete her continuing education. So I reached out to her and tried to get a, what she had completed, if, anything for 2020 and 2021. She did respond to me an email and did let me know that she was not practicing pharmacy as a practicing pharmacist at this time, but she is working in an employment that takes up, from a good amount of her time. And she did not realize towards the end of the year that she was going to renew. So at this time I did, let her know that she would have to appear due to the fact that I did not have any verification of her CEs for 2018 and 2019 or 2020 and 2021.
You don't get them through NABP?
We can, at this, I cannot view I can see your credits, but I cannot view the actual courses to know that if you took them what the breakdown is, the live or the law.
Okay. I freely admit to being semi-literate when it comes to a computer. I went into essentially retirement in 2015 to take care of my terminally ill. Excuse me. I just got off working a 16-hour shift. So if I'm not coherent, that's why. My husband died in 2015. I had basically retired from pharmacy at that point to take care of him. And in absolute honesty, I hadn't been sure whether or not I was even going to renew my license. I kept it up mostly because I was with the disaster medical assistance team, but they decided that they needed a pharmacy provider who was actively employed. I'm not employed in pharmacy, so it became a catch-22 where I wasn't working to meet their requirements, and because of that, I just wasn't certain I was going to keep my license at all. If there's a way to retire it gracefully, I would probably follow that route. I really don't see myself getting back into pharmacy, but I don't really want to relinquish the license either. If that sounds less than lucid, I'm sorry.
Beverly, when's the last time you practiced pharmacy?
2014. I was working for a company that closed because of mismanagement. So it's been a while, and unfortunately, the longer you're out of pharmacy, the more difficult it is to get back in.
When's the last year that you believe you fulfilled your CE requirements?
I would say I've been doing them online. The live ones have been harder, but I've been filing through them through NABP. I didn't realize that the board could not access them to verify that.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Beverly?
Yeah, Beverly, thank you for, after working a long 16-hour shift coming before the board, I appreciate that. Thank you. I guess I'm just trying to be clear as to whether you would like to continue to keep your license, which you would need to practice, or retire your license and no longer practice.
If I retire my license, what do I have to do to reactivate it?
You would then need to complete the CEs and then pay the, if I'm not mistaken, pay all of the fees dating back to when she put it inactive, correct, Gina?
Yes, that's correct.
I've been paying for the license.
Right, so let's say that you decided today you no longer want your pharmacy license, you want to retire it, and you kept it inactive for, let's say, 2 renewal cycles. And in 4 years, you decided, hey, I'd like to practice pharmacy again. As long as you can complete the CEs for all of those years, right? So for each renewal cycle, it's 30 credits. And commissioners, correct me if I'm saying this incorrectly. As long as you complete all of those CE requirements and pay the fees for all of those years, you can renew your license. So we're not taking it away from you that you can never get it back. So retiring it doesn't mean that you can never, ever get it back.
Okay. How do I prove to you that I have at least some of the CEUs? If you can't access it through NABP, how do I get the information to you?
Gina, would you like to tell her how to do that?
So in your NAB profile, you're able, as I said, I can look at your CEs to say how many you completed. So for reference, 15 or whatever you completed, it'll give me a total number of courses that you completed. But I do need to see the actual file, so the transcript. So in other words, if you can send that to me in a PDF document or Word document, I can't view it as an image. I need to see the actual document so I can make sure that what requirements you've met and what you would, or any that you would be missing.
So Gina, how far back would she need to go? It sounded like she said she hasn't completed anything since 2014.
So for this meeting, we were, as the chair, DeFazio was requesting, was the 2018-19 and 2021. She has renewed her license for 2022. So in going forth, just as a notation, she would have to continue the CEs for 2022 and 2023 going forward.
How many were fulfilled in the last 4 years, Gina?
I did not get any response from her, so I do not know. I don't have any documentation at all. And
Beverly, could you get us some documentation of the last 4 years?
Even
if it's a copy and you can fax it, we still have fax. You can fax it to the office if you can't do it on a computer.
Sorry, I'm I'm not stalling. I'm trying to stay coherent.
Okay.
Um,
So Beverly, why don't we do this? honey? Why don't you look into gathering as much information on your CEs as you possibly can for the
mhm,
past 4 years, whatever it may be.
Okay.
Communicate via email to Gina when you have that. And then, pardon me?
Gina, may I have your email?
I will send it to you, Beverly, after the meeting because I already have correspondence from
Oh,
the two of us.
that would be marvelous because I'm not writing down very well.
Okay. Well, Gina will just give you a little synopsis of what we're going to say. Try to give her, as she'll email you with a request for as much information on your CE as possible, going back the last 4 years. And then you'll do your best in obtaining that information and getting it to Gina. And then Gina and I will talk and we'll decide on putting you on the agenda for next month. Okay, Bev?
All right. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Get yourself some rest.
I'm sorry. I'm just not coherent right now.
Okay, get yourself some rest. Well,
All right.
we appreciate you appearing before the board today.
Thank you very much. You've been more than gracious. And I think I have a list of when you meet again.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Beverly. Thanks, Gina. Gina, thank you so much. I know this was a very tedious thing. I know you and I talked a lot on this. Thank you for making it so simple to understand. Really.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gina.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Thank you, Bev. All right, now let's go to, wait, is there a new agenda? Is there yes, that's new.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous matters, right? That's next.
Yes.
Commissioner Nguante, how about a little update?
Hey, Chairman. All right, so as you know, this is the time of year when we do some work for the MPJE. So typically in March and September, we have a couple of assignments that we do with the NABP. So this time, Agent Rachel Brown and myself collaborated and worked on the 2022 MPJE item development exercise. So this is the annual exercise when we go through the secure web portal of the NABP and we write new questions for our question bank. These questions are determined by the areas of competency that the NABP says we need more questions in. So that's kind of what guides us. And then the exercise is that we're supposed to write a minimum of about 20 questions total. We're at the point where there's around 3,000 questions in our bank overall. So this just keeps things fresh. Certainly right now, we did not write any questions related to the conditional orders. I know we have some practice changes, but depending on if those become law or not, that will dictate if we will write future questions to those. The new thing that the NABP had this year was an additional training and workshop we had to attend, either in person in Chicago or remotely. We both attended it remotely. And it was a security training to keep the integrity of the exam and compliance with all the guidance for the integrity. Back in the day when I first started doing this, you were able to kind of download your worksheets and stuff. All of that has ceased. Everything is you remote into the NABP server and you work online for the entire exercise. So there's quite a few levels of security before you can actually reach their server. So we did both of those things. We did the training, we did the exercise, and we completed everything on the due date, which was March 25th.
Can't imagine anyone wanting to cheat, Commissioner Nguante.
Oh my God. It was this education that they gave us was really enlightening. I don't know if they were concerned about, cyber criminals or whatever, but there are so many layers of security. Yeah,
Could you imagine how valuable that is to get the questions ahead of time?
Exactly. So, yeah, it was fascinating. But they have very, very tight process, very tight.
Any questions for Commissioner Nguante? Thank you for the update, Commissioner. Yeoman's work. And sticking with yeoman's work, the tedious work, request for non-resident pharmacy approval. Commissioner Nguante.
Oh, okay. Well, on the agenda, you just see the listing, but I think you also have my updated report.
Yeah.
This time there were not that many applicants. However, some of the denials were really a little bit challenging. And the thing that always gives me pause is the way we find these things out is just by, Gina and I asking a lot of questions of the applicant. And so the third one on there, this Baumick Diversified out of Plano, Texas, originally, I was going to approve it based on everything they provided and everything that we were able to look up. And then Gina was contacted because they're being investigated in their home state for filling prescriptions in other states without a license, including last November, they filled one for Connecticut and they've never been licensed here. So we are denying that. But again, we're so constrained because we only know what they tell us, certainly, and we do not dispatch, agents to inspect them. So this is always a little, anxiety provoking. Certainly we want to be friendly to business, but first and foremost, we want to protect the consumers of the state of Connecticut. There's a couple other denials in there where the applicants had indicated they're compounding non-patient specific items. So they would need a manufacturing license for Connecticut. So again, this was a little, not a lot of applicants, but again, pretty challenging in teasing out the information this time. And that always, like I say, gives me pause. So that is my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
Any questions for Mary? Mary, I do have a question. You've done this for such a long time, and that inability to get into that particular pharmacy or unit and look for transparency. Is there anything you think we could do legal wise, law wise, sharing of services with the agents in those states to make it easier? I keep beating my head on this and I can't think of a solution.
Yeah, well, we've come a long way with our application. And I think there's a couple of questions maybe that need to be tweaked, because some people just go in and they, on that questionnaire, they check off everything. And, you check off everything, I'm going to review you with that framework, or anyone else, right? But I think we could really help ourselves if we required the managers to be licensed in this state, because we just license the pharmacy. And so in terms of leadership accountability and everything that we do in this state, we would never license a pharmacy without having the pharmacist licensed in this state. And I always, kind of go back to how the standards we hold for our own, pharmacies and pharmacists. And so I think if we could require the managers to be licensed, then there's somebody who's accountable. And if they were less than, truthful on the application, I think there's a little bit more accountability, a little more skin in the game. You know what I mean?
That's a really good idea. With the shared services, I'm just trying to think of, with the shared services that just recently passed, when you said having the pharmacy manager license in that state, I thought of our shared services regulation. I wonder if we can use that somehow to say, oh, by the way, you need to also be licensed.
I don't know.
That's a great idea. Why do
I think our shared services does not require the pharmacist to be licensed. So
Oh, it doesn't?
in the past, we allowed for shared services, but the pharmacist had to be licensed. All pharmacists and
Right.
technicians had to be registered and in direct supervision. So this shared services actually eliminates that. So I think it'd be difficult now to add that in to,
Well, you still have to be licensed in the state of Connecticut. For the shared
not the pharmacist, the pharmacy,
Right.
not the individual pharmacist. That's what we had before. So this shared services bypasses that.
That's how I read it too, Debbie. Yeah, but that would be something that I think it would be huge. I mean, and then as you guys know, because I drag you through all my conversation every time I do my report, but whenever it looks like they're not dispensing, and then, you know, that raises the question, are they providing MTM services only? And so that's when we ask, you know, for the pharmacist to be licensed. And so, but as far as, you know, for these just non-resident applications, I'd really like to see if the you know, the pharmacy manager would be, you know, required to be licensed in the state. I think that would be another, you know, big move. Yeah, big move forward here, because there's just no accountability.
I feel like NABP has something that would address your concern, Commissioner. I'll look into it. It's, I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've kind of been on site with NABP due to COVID, but I believe they do have something that could address this.
Yeah, let me know, because, you know, some of the pharmacies do use the NABP service for the verified inspection.
Right.
But again, which again, it's very comprehensive document, and it's hugely helpful when I have those to review. But as far as the pharmacist manager themselves, each state, they're just, you know, they're just beholding to their own state where they're practicing, you know.
Any other questions for Commissioner Guante? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to accept the request for non-resident pharmacy approvals. I'll make the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, so moved. Thank you, Commissioner Guante. Just like this agenda, it was short, but it took a lot of time.
Definitely.
I hope everyone had a chance to look at the meetings from last month. Any omissions, corrections, etc., misspelling? Just kidding, Gina. I know you. I'm just kidding. I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes for last month.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Chairman, before you do that.
Yes, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Carberry, Commissioner Carberry, thank you very much for sharing
just want-
the picture of
well, I
Edie.
just had-
That's wonderful.
I just
Yes.
wanted to share with you all,
Okay.
Edie sends her best to all of you.
Thank you.
She's adjusting to this apartment. It's very difficult. She's on the 11th floor in a small apartment. It's the towers in New Haven. It's
Yeah,
a
the
nice
towers.
facility, but you know her.
Oh, yeah.
She left a nice condo and she's now in this apartment. So I went down there because she called me because she now is not able to walk that well.
I know.
She's in a wheelchair to get around. So I'm in the process of trying to find her a kind of a portable electric wheelchair, because she does get to go out once in a while. She likes to get out, still sharp as ever.
Oh, yeah.
But she sends her regards to all of you. She asked for everybody, and she's doing well. So that's my good and welfare for the day.
And I appreciate that. And all of us can imagine if he was still on the board with some of the cases that we've had, some of the interesting conversation that would have taken place. It would have been great. Actually, I kind of miss it.
And she missed it. She really does, believe it or not. She really missed it.
So Rick, you know, are you looking to obtain a used one for her? Or I know that's your area of expertise, but I may have a few guys that may have some hanging around. So I
No,
mean,
I've secured, I got.
oh, have you secured one? Good. All
I
right.
got a real good contact that's gonna get me a brand new one for
Of
her.
course
so.
you do. Of course you do. Very good, Commissioner Carver. All right, great. Thank you for that. Any other good and welfare? Gina, I want to thank you, by the way. You stepped up on the CE stuff.
Thank you.
You got to
Thank
start
you.
your own reality show, Forensic Files in Pharmacy.
I don't know.
To be honest with you, I talked to, you know, Gerard, and one of the, you know, maybe we should start, because one thing all of these people had in common, they were honest.
Yeah.
They answered no.
Yeah.
Right. And if I answer no and still got my license, it means, oh, I have time to make it up. That's right. But so I'm just wondering how many yeses there were really no's. Right. And
Right.
we'll never
right.
really know unless there's an audit done. So I don't know, maybe we audit 5, 10, 15, 20 random licenses every year. Because I don't think we do that.
And I think, you know, in doing this, it definitely, that would be, you know, something that would probably happen in the future, because, and we're working on getting the clearinghouse, because as I said, I can see them and I can see how many, but that doesn't help with, you know, verifying, yes, they did the live and they completed it in their law, what they need. So.
Right, but you know, to be honest, I'm surprised, and maybe I'm naive. I always thought that if you didn't do your 15, that a list is generated from that vault and it's sent to that state and says, okay, here are the people that didn't get 15 credits, you know, in Connecticut or whatever. I always thought that we were notified of the ones that didn't, but I guess we're not. I guess you have to go in and ask, because technology dictates that that's a pretty simple thing to calculate. Connecticut, 15, doesn't equal 15, spit it out, right? It's a pretty simple, I can even write that program, right? So, I'm just surprised. So I don't know if we want to get into that, you know.
I'm surprised it allows you to continue to renew. I thought it would block you.
Right.
And at that point, you now need to contact the board.
Right.
So I'm a little surprised. So I don't know if, you know, what's going to happen with the hard stop. So I don't know if there could be a hard stop with the instructions on what do I do now? I have a hard stop.
Mhm.
And it tells you, you need to notify the board, has a contact information. Because I would hate for someone to say, well, it stopped me and now I didn't know what to do.
Right. Yeah, I agree that their license can't be inactive on that date. It has to say, you know, because we're pretty lenient on extensions. I'm not lenient on waivers. I think Mary's been on the board longer than any of us, but I think the only time I ever remember a waiver of credit was service men and women that actually went away for a year or two overseas, you know, to fight our battles, and they came back, and I think we waived those years that they were in the service. Other than that, I don't remember any waivers that warranted a complete waiver, you know.
Yeah, and the problem is too is in fact that they did. Remember, they renewed their license right at the end of the year, and they did not contact us. So here we are we sent out the report in March 31st was the first original email after we did our research and ran the report. So they had that time to contact us to say, hey, I did not complete them. What do I need to do? So we had 8 in total that would have appeared, but 4 of them, you know, were like, we're not practicing, or I'm moving, or, you know, and that came with a bunch of other, you know, okay, you're moving, if you let go your home state, you know, you may not be able to reciprocity somewhere else. So, you know, we had to address those issues, but those 4 were hard. Yep, I'm going to give it up, even though I just paid to renew. So, you know, and did they complete their CEs, as you said, you know, because we're just researching, we're looking into this, doing an audit, you know, now going forth.
You know, Gina, I can't remember. Do we have an option at renewal to make it inactive?
I don't think so.
'Cause we should
I'm not
probably-
positive, but I can, I think they have to notify us. But I'm
We
not, I'm
should
not real
probably
positive.
add that to make it inactive, because, I mean, I have license, I mean, I just made my New York license inactive, I think the last
Oh,
renewal
okay.
cycle. And that's how I did it. Go to renew, and I said, hey, I'd like to make this inactive. And it, spit out a bunch of information to kind of let me know when I wanted to make it active, what I needed to do to make it active. So at least I was aware of, hey, if I ever want to get this license again, these are the requirements, this is what I would need to do.
That makes sense, and in this case where I wouldn't have had to contact those
Right,
four
yeah.
because they were on the fence as to whether, but it was also like Ms. Dillon saying, well, I wanted to keep my license. And I pointed out, you can keep your license, you did renew it. You will have to appear before the board and you need to complete your CE requirements. It is a requirement. And
Now,
that's
how do
where
we
we are.
follow up to ensure that that person completed their CE requirements by the end of the year?
So in email, I've done numerous emails with Ms. Dillon. It was numerous emails to her and correspondence and a couple phone calls. So without them sending it to me, there's, the only thing I could do is I'd be able to look at the total number. So I am going to we are in kind of finding out what NAPB, and we're doing some sharing in the clearinghouse for the disciplinary action. I think that already was happening. And so to see if I can actually get permission to look at their transcripts, because that's the problem. I can't see the transcript.
And
So
those aren't complete either, Gina, because if you do, if you do something, say you do a CME that's approved by the Medical Society, unless you upload it to that NABP site, you're not going to have a complete roster. But like with the last, with Beverly's situation, I mean, if she did do some, yeah, definitely they'd be in there. I mean, and she said she wasn't that computer savvy. I mean, she could even go to her library, and the librarians can always, help you on the computer, yeah, download. So I don't know if she would do that, but yeah, the NABP site is not always 100%, depending on, the programs you've attended.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So Gina, sorry to circle back, but I'm just trying to make sure that I am understanding what we're going to do here. So everyone who appeared that we gave an extension to today, how do we confirm that by December 31st, they've completed all of their CEs?
They answer yes.
But they're not going to renew again until the next cycle, which is not until 2023, going to 2024. And they're talking about their CEs for this renewal cycle.
Right.
How do we confirm that, yeah, they actually did it? So is this something that we...
So by the end of this renewal cycle, as I can remember, I'm kind of going back to the last, one of the meetings we had with one of the ladies that attended. We did give them a requirement if they didn't meet them by the end of the extension, that they would be revoked. That was the option, and I don't know if that's going to be the same, that they need to send verification, and when they do send verification, I do upload it into their credential, and I know I can write up a summary, to present that the folks that were on have completed, or unless you want them to appear again. They weren't all going to appear.
No, I'm thinking some type of audit of some sort, because I feel like, when I saw this, when you sent this to us on Friday, my heart stopped, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how many people have hit no over the years, have never done their CEs, and we just didn't realize it. Right. So I think we recognize it now, and just like anything else in life, right? You realize your mistakes and then you correct them. So I think we're on the road to correction, but I still want to make sure we don't have anyone who falls through the cracks, because people have appeared to us, not just today, just throughout, the last couple of months, but there should be some type of check in place. And if we extended, and I think that's what we did for everyone, extended them until the end of the year, there should be some type of maybe January 1st check of all these people. I mean, I don't know how we keep track of them, but there should be something.
Other than Gina reaching out to him, putting him in a tickler file, we got to trust him, right?
Yeah. So maybe is there a file that we go back and we look and we ensure? Because I would hate to have someone who has a license year after year after year, and they're not meeting the requirement, right? We got to protect the public and ensure that our pharmacists have the training. We know CE is not all the training they need, but they're up to date on what they need to. That's why we have CE requirements, right?
Right. And Deb, it's their responsibility. You know, we try to gatekeep it, but we can't gatekeep something that's not brought to our attention. So it's the pharmacist's responsibility to make sure those CE requirements. If they checked off no, and they were still given a license, that's a technical issue with our system, but it does not forgive them for not completing their CE requirement. Because I had long talks and talked to attorneys about this, because I was worried about this. Because technically they're not licensed pharmacists in the state of Connecticut unless they receive an extension or a waiver from the Commission of Pharmacy. They're not. Because that's part of requirement for licensure. But because they answered honestly, and it was a technical glitch that they still allowed it, it does not excuse them.
Correct.
Their CE requirement, but it does give us the ability that there was this technical glitch. So there's leniency, let's give them an extension to complete their CE requirements, which we did. The only one we didn't is the one that needs to prove to us 18 and 19, because I got a funny feeling that this has been a habitual extension for that one particular pharmacist, because it sounds like 4 years in a row, they weren't compliant on time.
But right now,
you know,
right now, that same pharmacist has an active license. Even though they didn't
Because of
complete,
the
they didn't
active-
extend,
right,
they do have an
because of the
active license.
glitch.
So that's what I want us to put a something in place.
Right.
So Gina, is it possible for you to create a file? So as we do extensions, there's a file so that we can have like on the agenda in January.
So I
That's where,
did,
you know, we
I
would
did
be able
create
to
a
follow
file.
up with those.
Oh, you did? You created a file?
I did create a
Awesome.
file, and I did speak to Rod. Rod spoke to me on this briefly, and I can, in their credential, create a case.
Perfect. Oh, that's even better.
Right. So I can create a case because, you know, like you said, you did all the work on this. You definitely want to show that, you know, you've started a case and what the outcome was. And then this way, if we had to pull, we put all that information in there.
Perfect.
So, and then I have my own personal file just to keep track of
Atta girl.
where we're at.
Are we thinking about going back to an annual renewal? Because I've been on this group for a long time, and it just seems like we never had this many challenges when it was annual. Just my perception, but.
No, 100%. I brought that up, Mary. I brought that up already. And that's a licensure thing. It's easier. It's easier for the state to issue one license every 2 years than every year. But you're right. I think that there's been exponential.
Yeah, I mean, we're setting
issues
people up to
since we
fail.
went to 2 years, right?
I just think we set people up to fail because the whole thing, I think people are thinking, okay, I just pay my money. I file this once every 2 years, then I can do my 10 live, you know, in the last quarter of the last year or whatever. And you can't, you have to do it per year. So I don't know. It just seems like we really didn't help anyone with this. You know, I think we wanted
We didn't have a
to.
decision on that, right? That was a state agency thing, right? We didn't vote on doing it every 2 years, right?
No, it came from us. I think it came, I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember. Rick, you
Yeah.
remember? I don't remember.
That might have been before us. I mean, how long has it been?
Not,
Yeah,
no,
maybe.
I feel like when I got my license in Connecticut, which I think might have been 2009, it was annual. So it was within maybe the last 10 or so years.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Billy was still the chair, I think, at the time. I'm remembering this. So, yeah.
And why did we do it? Because the licensure department wanted it, right?
Again, I thought it was, from us, again, thinking we were going to make life easier for people. So I don't know if it's something we could talk about with Rod, and maybe, obviously this session is going to be over very soon,
Right.
but maybe next session, just revert back.
I think it is being reviewed.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is being looked into, because it's the reasoning being, as I'm sure you've seen more of this than I have, just in this little time that I've been here, the CE requests are, they're always, the extension. And I think when someone renews, if they're thinking, oh, I got time, I've got the whole 2 years to complete those CEs.
Yep.
And they really don't.
But yeah,
I
but
mean,
a lot of that there, because a lot of states, I don't know if I know enough to say most states. A lot of states, like I hold now I only hold 3 licenses. And they're all over the place. So at one point I held 4 licenses, and Connecticut was the only state that required that you had to do it within a 1-year block. Everyone else allows you to do it within the renewal cycle. And so I think that might be confusing to some people. But then again, there are tools that some of these states use. Florida uses, I think it's called, what is a CE broker or something like that, to help pharmacists ensure that they meet the requirements and allow the boards to be able to verify. So, and when I renew my Florida license, I can't even renew it unless I have showed CE broker that I have the correct breakdown. I have the right amount of law, I have the right amount of live, and depending on how long you've had your license, you have to do HIV. There are additional specific courses that you have to take. If I can't show them that I did that, I can't even move forward to renew the license. So there may be some things we can put in to help pharmacists have the right information, so we don't have to deal with it here. We only deal with the people who said, yeah, I did it, and they didn't do it. And that's in Florida. I got to be honest, I think it's impossible, because you literally have to have all that stuff confirmed before you can even move on and get your license. So maybe we look into some additional, software that can help us do this a little better.
Unfortunately, that has a budget line item, Debbie. Thank you very much for the suggestion. However, we don't have the money to do that. Thank you. You're gonna get that.
You're the free software, I guess.
There you go. That's Michelle. Michelle. All right, with that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Have a wonderful week, guys. Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys.
Good day.
Thanks
Thank
for all your
you.
work. Thank you, guys. Take care.